The Lakers have won 7 out of 8 games. I don't know how, with so many injuries, particularly with Shaquille and Nick Van Exel.
Utah brings the complete game to the NBA hardwood. The all-time steals and assist leader is John Stockton, the spark that fuels the Jazz machine. His running mate, Karl Malone, provides the power inside to complement the finest shooting team in the league. The best in the West has reeled off 13 straight, inching closer to a franchise record for victories. Tonight, the Lakers come to town, with injuries being the main topic. LA eagerly awaiting the return of their superstar.
Along with Chuck Daly and Cheryl Miller, this is Bob Neal. Welcome to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's been a blustery day here in the West. Some snow up in the mountains, but it's warm and it's packed in here at the Delta Center for tonight's matchup between two of the best teams in the West, the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have won 7 out of 8 games. I don't know how, with so many injuries, particularly with Shaquille O'Neal and Nick Van Exel. The Utah Jazz have won 13 in a row, going for 14 tonight, and on their way to probably a record-setting season for victories in a regular season. And one of the things that always is a trait of Utah, real good regular season record, but then not being able to make it big in the playoffs. However you look at that, and I know you have a point about it, two of the key players to get there, whether it's playoffs or regular season, are two future Hall of Famers, Stockton and Malone.
Well, the seats are already in place in Springfield for these two guys, but taking a look at their statistics, I think it's kind of interesting. Over 2,000 games, and they've only missed 8. You say, isn't that wonderful? That helps to make them a great regular season team. So many other teams with their stars actually miss many, many more games, so they don't get to that efficiency level. So consequently, if you're looking for a chink in armor, and that's really looking, that's one of them.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting because the other 3 of the 4 good teams in the West have had various kind of problems with injuries. Look at the Los Angeles Lakers. They have had a slew of injuries, as I told you. Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Van Exel not playing tonight. Shaquille's back just around the corner. There have been a various number of players missing, yet they're still winning. They're still in the hunt for what could be the Pacific Championship, and they've had to count on young players in there.
Well, I think young players are a big part of it. We're talking about Kobe Bryant and Derek Fisher, but along with that, they put together a great bench. Credit Jerry West. Del Harris has done a good job of managing this club. But these two youngsters, and one is a rookie and one just out of high school, you look at their numbers, they've really stepped up in these last 7 or 8 games and brought them 7 wins.
Lakers will be starting Fisher. You see Derek Fisher starting to place with Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones at the guards, Blunt and Orley at the forwards, Campbell at the center. The makeshift lineup due to the injuries. Utah, they've had most of their players for most of their games. Stockton and Hornacek, Malone and Russell at the forwards. Brian Russell has been a mild surprise. Ostertag getting the kind of NBA experience to make him an effective center. And Cheryl Miller is sidelined with us tonight, and we talked about, Cheryl, the LA Lakers and all the injuries. The 2 key injuries, Van Exel and Shaq. What's the latest?
Well, Bob, it seems like a lot of the top teams have been plagued with injuries, and the Lakers are no exception. Nick Van Exel obviously out with a bone bruise in his left knee. He is expected to return on Friday. Now, the million-dollar question, when will Shaq return? Well, he's been practicing with Magic Johnson's team yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And on Friday, he is expected to meet with the Lakers team doctor to be re-evaluated. But sources close to the team who have been watching the big fella play said that he is in physical great condition and that it looks like that he might be back as early as this Friday right here on TNT. How's that for a plug, guys?
Well done, well done. Shaq back Friday, probably.
And we understand he's been working on his free throw in Magic, moving it from his right shoulder to in front of him. That should be interesting.
So now Magic's going to be blamed for his 48%.
Exactly. Whoever works with him last gets blamed.
Danny Crawford, Mark Wunderlich, Kevin Fear are our officials tonight. In the season series, the Utah Jazz have defeated the Lakers twice, and they're going to play them twice in the next 5 days. Here tonight and again Sunday in Los Angeles. The Lakers battling for the #2 seed, right now tied with Seattle and Houston for the second best record in the West. Campbell down on the low block gets his first 2 of the night. And Eldon Campbell, who wasn't real happy about playing power forward with Shaquille O'Neal, has been very happy about playing center in Shaquille's absence and producing.
huge numbers and averaging 14.7 points per game, shooting 46%, and he goes inside right away to him. And on the other end, Karl Malone draws a foul right away on a shuffle cut.
And the foul will be on Corey Blunt. Inside to Stockton, and in falls from Hornacek.
They run that play so effectively. It's what we call a UCLA cut. They get to the baseline, but you've got to thread the needle. And Stockton, great hands, had ability to get it up on the glass. Not many people can handle it and get it up in that short space.
Ostertag defending Campbell. Rotating the ball to Eddie Jones. Turnover, Jazz ball. That's the first of the game for LA. First turnover. Tied at 2. Stockton. Long rebound to the rookie Derek Fisher out of University of Arkansas, Fayetteville. Long miss for Eddie Jones.
And already the Jazz game plan is to double on Eldon Campbell. And there's a shot that rarely you'll see Karl Malone miss with his strength.
I said Fisher from the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville. No, that would be no story. He's University of Arkansas, Little Rock. First Little Rock, Arkansas player to ever be in the NBA. Second round draft choice, and he has really done the job here filling in for the injured Nick Van Exel. Horry from three-point range. We remember those three-point bombs from his days with the Houston Rockets. Tied at 2. 2 minutes gone in the first period.
We've had two long-range, Jones and Horry. Neither one has barely caught metal.
Karl Malone from 18. Rebound Eldon Campbell. Here's Derek Fisher, 6'1", dripping wet. Air ball. Brian Russell. You see his athleticism. The ball stripped away, though, from Karl Malone on the bounce pass.
And two unlikely plays for Karl Malone getting into the feel of this game. The Lakers getting into 2 o'clock last night, and right now are shooting like it.
Jeff Hornacek with the rebound. Here's John Stockton again. LA's 1 out of 6. To support what you just said, Chuck, inside to Karl Malone. Easy lay-in from Hornacek.
That's Hornacek coming off the baseline screen by Malone, and the defensive player makes a mistake, tries to help out on Hornacek. Malone slips to the basket in a very easy 2.
Horry trying to get free of Brian Russell. Horry has him with a size advantage. Now Campbell turn around over Ostertag at 7-2. May have got a piece of that. To Stockton. Malone all the way down. Open. Play and Malone from Stockton.
He'll beat you every night for 2 of those layups. He can run the floor for his size, and he'll get up and down normally most of the time. Then all of a sudden he'll do 2 or 3 times. He'll leak out on you and get the long bomb.
6-2 Utah. 8:37 to go, first period. Los Angeles Lakers have won 7 out of their last 8 games, despite the rash of injuries we noted for you. Campbell takes it inside. A lot of contact, no whistle. Brian Russell for 3. He's shooting at about 40% from three-point land. Really good for a small forward. And a pretty good defender down there, as you see him stop the lightning-fast Eddie Jones on the drive. And Del Harris in LA wants a timeout here. Lakers have 1 field goal in 4 minutes of play, and Del Harris says he needs only 20 seconds. As Chuck pointed out a moment ago, this team played just last night, got in late, didn't have the shoot around, and they're showing some sluggishness. And this is a vital game for this team.
It is a vital game, but they're going to be tested. In fact, I don't think the Jazz are as sharp as perhaps they have been. There's Hornacek coming off baseline, just lofts it over top because they were trying to help on Karl Malone and fronted. That makes it wide open. The only help you can get is from the weak side. There was none there to be had.
We're talking about what's going on out west in the battle for 2-3-4 between LA, Seattle, and Houston. You see the Lakers right now are in, even though they're tied at 52-24 with Seattle, have the season edge on Seattle head-to-head. That's why the Lakers would win the Pacific if they end up tied. Houston obviously can't get the second spot unless they were to overtake Utah, and that's simply not going to happen. So Houston's going to end up being either third or fourth. What the teams want to avoid, of course, is the fourth spot, meaning they would have to play probably Portland in the first round and then turn right around and face the Utah Jazz at home. It's 6-4, so the 22nd timeout proved to be of some value to the Los Angeles Lakers. Hornacek dropped the ball, then fires up a three as the shot clock wound down. Stolen by Malone.
Careless pass by Campbell. Karl Malone hanging around, got a hand on it, and gets the easiest kind of 2 points for a guy his size. Usually it happens for guards. LA already 3 turnovers, not the way to win on the road, but all of a sudden lighted up with 2 long-range shots.
Corey Blunt hits from the perimeter. It's still an 8-6 2-point ball game. Malone, everybody out here in Utah and in the West talking about Malone for MVP. We'll get Chuck to give us his wisdom on that as the game goes along. Karl Malone missing on that shot. Campbell rebound.
Well, it's going to, early in the year, usually it's won by Michael before the season starts. Then the season starts and he puts a stamp on it. But this year, this guy going to end up on the end of this is making it a horse race.
5, make it 4 LA turnovers already. Karl Malone has 6 points on lay-ins, and the game is closer than it looks. It's 10-6, and LA hasn't been able to get anything going so far.
Campbell, here comes the double team. Looks like the second big man.
Corey Blunt being defended by Malone. Pitch out to Ori. Had to shoot it right at the buzzer. Run down by Stockton. This time Brian Russell leaked out early. He spots up. They didn't want to take that shot.
Robert Ori has already taken 2 threes. Could have stepped in both times. A 30% shooter. We have guys in the league right now just running to the 3-point line. They don't even know a 2-point shot exists. You'd think early in the game that they think about maybe I ought to get a little closer, like get warmed up a little bit.
There's closer. Derek Fisher on a drive showing his quickness. What do you think of Derek Fisher as an NBA level player?
Oh, I think it's a great pickup. He can really handle the show, run the show. He can shoot the ball, get into position. He's not looking necessarily to score, and he's in one of his toughest matchups, as you can see, playing the veteran, cagey John Stockton.
That was a mental mistake there. Stockton stepped around and got the open shot over Derek Fisher, and it's Jazz 12, Lakers 8, 5:11 to go, first period. Keep going to Campbell on the first entry pass. Ori on the drive. Maybe he heard you, Chuck. And, of course, he'll get a ball back with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. But in the meantime, he's timeout on the floor.
With 5 minutes to go, and in comes
Isley.
Howard Isley, out of Boston College.
And Sean Rooks just checked in, too. Rooks with an offensive game. Goes right to work on Ostertag. He gets the rebound off the miss. Isley. For Russell.
Very good delivery. They kept their spacing wide on the wings. Made it easy for Russell to decide who to give the ball to. Finish the fast break as you should.
And 5 assists on 7 baskets so far for the Utah Jazz to reemphasize that delivery of the ball point. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Corey Blunt's turnaround. Rebound, Brian Russell. Ostertag alone at 7-2.
And the Lakers in serious trouble transition defense-wise. They've given up 4 transition baskets. Can't do it, and the other guy's building.
Well, Del Harris going to try to get a little firepower into Kobe Bryant, who he just put into the game. Sean Rooks in it a moment ago. Rooks hard to the hoop and draws the foul. Sean Rooks has a pretty good offensive game, and he's played well lately. As you know, Campbell replaced O'Neal, then Campbell got hurt, and Rooks started at center for 3 games in the place of Eldon Campbell, and played very well, double-figure points.
Well, Rooks, really jumped up his numbers. Normally, he's a 3-point per game scorer, 2 rebounds. He's all of a sudden 16 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, and that talks about minutes played. When you get minutes, most guys in this league can deliver.
Sean Rooks at the free throw line. How about that look shooting the free throws? Golfers talk about having it completely quiet when they make a putt. These free throws not exactly the same thing. Of course, Chuck and I have been, in addition to our constant attention to the NBA, been talking a little Masters golf today. Inside to Karl Malone. And look at the handoff to Howard Isley. Another assist on another basket, and it's 18-10 Utah.
Great cut by Isley and a better pass by Malone.
Malone is, and this won't sound like a big deal statistic, Malone is 28th in the NBA in assists, 5th among all forwards. He delivers the ball very well.
Well, he does, but he gets a lot of opportunity to do that because he gets a lot of double teams. And they set up their offense so now they get him isolated a little bit more, and you're taking a huge risk when you double him.
Kobe Bryant, the 19-year-old, just plunks it home from three-point land, and the Lakers are down only 5 with 3:24 to go in the period. Kobe Bryant is only averaging about 15 minutes a game in his rookie season, averaging about 8 points from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
We saw one of the first games that we had this year. Watched the pregame, and I said, this kid's going to be a great three-point shooter. Shoots 37%, and there you see another assist.
Another Karl Malone assist to Hornacek, and it's 20-13. And Karl Malone has credit for 2 assists. Hornacek has a couple of assists. More assists on the floor now from other players than Stockton, who's usually one of the assist people. That foul's on Ostertag. That's his second. Jerry Sloan not pleased. And Kersey is going to check into the game for the Los Angeles Lakers. We're also going to get Greg Foster for the Utah Jazz as Ostertag sits down with his 2 personal fouls and 2 points.
Jerry Sloan upset at the call because he said the official did not see the early part of the call where he got two-handed, not one, but jammed with that screen. He said he retaliated to try to get through the screen.
Little defensive move there from John Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek from Iowa State. He was a walk-on at Iowa State. How about it? Now 10 years in the NBA.
There's a case where Rooks turned into the double team from Russell. Russell was almost there. Watch carefully. Here's the direct pass. Rooks catches, he turns. Russell is there. He gets jammed, hit in the eye, but gets called. Russell gets called for the foul.
Russell was moving a bit on that. Crowd didn't like it. 20-13 Utah. 2:34 to go in the first period. Kobe Bryant, 6'6", the youngster. Derek Fisher, their other rookie. Had to shoot it up. The shot clock was winding down. Here's Howard Isley. Isley in his 3rd year. Brian Russell missing badly from the perimeter. Rooks with a rebound.
You know, Russell was looking more for the three-point line than he was looking at the basket. It is unbelievable the way the players in the NBA run to that line and are more concerned about their feet position than actually shooting the basketball.
Now that's 2 on Russell. And it started happening when the line was moved in. And it hasn't been moved in enough, in my view, to make it that much of a difference. But apparently the players think so.
Yeah, they do, and they really run to that line.
Brian Russell's 0 for 3 on threes tonight. Hit his only 2-point attempt, which may tell him something. And Adam Keefe out of Stanford, formerly of the Atlanta Hawks, checks into the game. And Brian Scott is in, the veteran who has come in and really helped this team. Brian Scott in his 14th year in the NBA.
Not huge numbers, but playing about 19 minutes, enough to help him.
Kobe Bryant is such a sweet player.
20-15 Mr. Bryant. You know, it's going to be interesting to find out where he finally settles into as a position.
Hornacek goes down on the floor, wanted to get the foul, made the basket anyway. 7-point Utah lead. Yeah, Kobe Bryant. Some people say he could even play some point guard. First miss, that was a 2-point attempt. He has 5 points, but he can play, of course, the 2 and the 3. And there's Malone leaking out again and draws the foul from Jerome Kersey.
Interesting play by Bryant that time. He came down. He had a breakaway. He held up the ball and then settles for a long 3-point shooter. And then Malone is now leaking out, and he is trying. He says somebody else pick him up.
Talking about Kobe Bryant, able to play probably 3 positions. I don't know which one he'll settle on.
At the line, the mailman.
Probably never really settle on one. Probably will always play some 2, 3, and perhaps maybe even a lot of 1 before it's over as he matures, understands the game a little bit better. But that was a good indication. He had his man beat, Hornacek fell down. He had a breakaway. He could have pushed his defense, but he pulled up and settled for the three. That tells you the experience, and perhaps that's what Dell is telling him right there.
He had 24 points last night, just one short of his career high in the Los Angeles Laker game. Karl Malone ranked 7th in the NBA in field goal percentage. He's 2,000ths of a percentage point behind John Stockton, both of them shooting right at 55%. 24-15 Utah. Minute 19 to go in the first period. Brooks gets the double team. Bryant looked for the pass, dribbled right into the hands of Hornacek. The great hands of Hornacek, I might add. Isley, the Keith to Malone. It's going to be out of bounds, Utah ball.
And the Lakers on every post-up, whether it's Campbell, whether it's Brooks, are getting the double team from the second man away every single time, and they're struggling to get a good shot of it. They're turning the ball over. They're trying to swing it, but they're not getting good shots out of it. And something they see every single day. Here you see it again. He's going to come off, going to look inside, dump it inside. Here comes the double team. There's the swing out.
Better job this time to a very good three-point shooter, Bryant Scott, at least good in his day. He's going to try another one.
This time it goes down for the veteran from Arizona State.
What you just saw is what you consistently see in the NBA on a night-to-night basis. Throw it in, wait for the double team, swing it out, swing it around, look for the open shot, and they stay at the three-point line.
Looks like the demo team for one of your plays. Adam Keefe has it ripped away, and back from the Los Angeles Lakers now, an opportunity to pull to within 4 or better with 23 seconds to go in the first period. And the Laker bench has played better than their starters. They've certainly got better since they got Kobe Bryant into the ball game and Sean Rooks.
They've got about 3+ seconds differential here. They're going to look to try to get one shot. Let's see where they go. They win.
Bryant, his elevation's incredible, but he waited a little long. That's the play of an 18-year-old. 24-18, 6-point Jazz lead at the end of one period. MVP candidate Karl Malone has 10 points, 2 assists, 2 steals in the first period of play. Utah shooting 58%. The Lakers only 1 out of 3. For the Utah Jazz, Keith can't get the rebound. Kept alive by Kersey, controlled by Rooks into the hands of Kobe Bryant. Stockton back on the floor to open this period. Kobe Bryant missing his turnaround. Also, Knight is in the game for the first time tonight. Travis Knight, another rookie for LA, in the game.
I'll tell you what happened. John Stockton was very unhappy on the previous play because Bryant knocked him down, and he tried to get him offensively coming up in the backcourt, then in the front court.
Drag him up and just forced a foul, actually.
You want to take a look?
That ball's action's back in. 24-18 Utah. First minute. Here it is. Let's take a look at it.
And maybe we'll walk. Karl Malone picked up the personal, his first.
Here's the play. Actually, John's trying to take a charge on this. Watch carefully. He backs into it pretty good, nails it pretty good, takes the shot. Now watch what happens. Now, we didn't get it all, but that's what started the entire play down to the other end.
We were never going to get to see it.
We were never going to get to see it.
Fate wasn't going to let it happen. You could just tell sometimes. Jazz 24-18, 10:55 to go in the first period. Percy called for the foul this time. He's not happy about it either, and now he has 2. Karl Malone's going to get a brief rest. By the way, the last few games, Malone's been averaging only about 27 minutes a game as Antoine Carr comes in. One of the reasons is this team's been leading most of the games about 20 at halftime.
63 to 49 has been their average at half over this string of wins.
Keith tipped it out to Greg Foster. He's got another rebound, 2 in a row for Adam Keith.
Offensive rebounding, second shots will really do you in.
Getting a look at the bench here. 4 out of the 5 players are substitutes on the floor for Utah now. Only starter on the floor is Stockton. A lot of people think Utah has as good a bench as anybody in the league.
One of the things that's happened for Utah is they've got a lot more playing time than most benches, and obviously they'll have better stats.
Byron Scott let it slip right through his fingers.
And the Lakers just commit their 6th turnover. Utah with 4 turnovers in the game. We haven't had any scoring in this period yet. 24-18 Utah with nearly 2 minutes gone in the second quarter.
Based on the amount of turnovers and the way Los Angeles Lakers shot the basketball, and to only be down 6 points is amazing.
Greg Foster from 20.
Well, in that case, that's a warm-up jumper for a guy just standing there. No one got to him. The Lakers are not playing with quite as much energy, probably because they have been traveling. Can happen. What Del Harris has to do is find somebody that's going to give them some energy somewhere on that bench.
Trying to post up Kobe Bryant against the shorter John Stockton. Stockton kept him way off the box. That was just thrown up at the last minute. Shot would have counted. 26-18 Jazz. Chance to build the lead to 10, which would be their biggest of the game. Stockton off balance after the bump.
He was trying to draw a foul on Kobe. Leaned into it. He's still complaining to the official. Then he threw up the shot thinking he was going to get the foul. Did not get it. He's still at the official. And I think only because it's John Stockton and he's been around so long did he not get a technical on that verbal outrage there.
No kidding. A lot of players would have had it called very quickly.
Yeah, they're backing into him, using his forearm.
Kobe Bryant will inbound the ball. Bryant takes the pass inbound from Eddie Jones. Bryant playing the point right now. It's Bryant and Jones, and some heavy body collisions in the paint. And the foul's going to be on Antoine Carr. A sluggish game so far, and I'm sure that's what Jerry Sloan himself thinks. Jerry, 56 years old, talking with his coach Phil Johnson and Chuck and myself today. We're all talking pension, retirement, benefits, golf. So, well, maybe we should talk some basketball.
One of the things you get with Jerry Sloan is honest, straight answers, and you know he deals that way with his players. There is no foolishness.
This franchise is just amazing. The whole franchise runs that way. There's never any turnover. You know, it's the same people in the front office, the security people, the ushers, the coaches, the players. They all just stay and stay and stay. And there you go, the Visa leaderboard. Jerry Sloan, Dean of NBA coaches. Longest tenures, 9 years, and can probably be here as long as he wants to be.
You're right, and Phil Johnson, I was talking to him today, and he's had some offers, but it's very difficult for him to leave this franchise with Jerry Sloan. And Phil Johnson is a very good basketball man.
It's almost, and sometimes, and Jerry, there's Phil, who's been a head coach before. Jerry would be the first to say this. It's almost as though they have 2 head coaches, because they co-coach in many ways.
Yeah, Phil told me that they holler at each other. They have no problems with it. They really get along, and he's allowed the coach help coach the club. A lot of assistants don't get the input that he does, and he likes that. But you're right, he was a head coach, never had a good team, but I think would be a very good head coach.
It may never be, though, because of this association he has.
Very possible.
With Jerry. 28-20, that was a kind of a coaching thing there we did. That's more time we spent on coaches all season.
But quite frankly, I don't know if the Utah Jazz are always going to be as settled as they are when the Stocktons and the Malones go down the line.
Yeah, and they're about to go down the line. They're getting older and older. That rebound from Shandon Anderson, the rookie from Georgia, down inside to Greg Foster. Adam Keefe draws the foul from Travis Knight. So now Utah's got yet another bench player on the floor, and that is Shandon Anderson, who was drafted late in the second round. I asked Jerry Sloan today, I said, Shandon Anderson, the brother of Willie, out of Georgia, who's been a very good player as a rookie. He says, how did he go so late? He says, mainly because people said he couldn't shoot the ball.
And then Phil said, and people didn't think he was quite as tough as he is. And he's got some toughness, and he likes to play, he wants to learn, is willing to work hard, and he's getting solid minutes here with this franchise.
Yeah, really nice size, too. He's 6'6", 210 pounds. That's the biggest lead, 30-20 Jazz. 8:04 to go first half. Lakers just unable to get any points here. They had 109 points last night in the win against Golden State. 20 so far here.
Well, they're not pushing the ball at all tonight. They're really walking it up more, perhaps by design, because of the possibility of fatigue. And so they're going to their set offense pretty exclusively.
Nice pass there. inside to Travis Knight, and it's an 8-point Jazz lead. One of 3 rookies on the Los Angeles Lakers team. Travis Knight out of UConn. He's had a sore knee lately.
One of the problems the Lakers with all their talent, and you know, a lot of people could really fear this club, but getting them all back in sync with 1 week to go in the regular season and maybe 4 or 5 days of practice might be a little bit difficult.
Illegal defense was the call. That's the warning. No technical foul yet. They'll just get a sidelines out of bounds and a new shot clock. Robert Horry back in the game. Stockton with the penetration to kick out Shandon Anderson for a triple.
He kind of twisted that one, turned to the side, didn't come off, looked like came off with his little finger rather than his forefinger, but still was able to wiggle it through.
Looked like a Kenny Smith shot.
Knuckleball.
Yeah. Eddie Jones, a little bit more pure rotation, but it doesn't fall. I guess it doesn't matter long as it goes.
He only had 6 more feet he could have gone in to get that particular shot.
Kobe Bryant is responsible for that play as Eddie Jones.
Now I understand why he didn't go in.
He'll be hearing about that from his teammates, and as so often happens, right down at the other end, they get burned. 13-point Jazz lead, timeout, Los Angeles.
There's Jones on. This time he's going all the way. Gets up, hits the back rim, and we've got a non-completed dunk.
Head coach Cheryl Miller, who will be roaming the bench area, is roaming the Delta Center on the sidelines for us tonight. Cheryl.
Hey, thanks a lot, Bob. We're talking about home sweet home. Over the last 9 years under Coach Jerry Sloan, the Jazz have won an outstanding 83% of their games here at the Delta Center. And I had the opportunity to ask Karl Malone before the game why they felt so comfortable here, and he said, hey, the #1 reason, Cheryl, you're right, it's a comfort zone. He goes, we feel that when we're here on the floor that we can shoot, get any type of option that we want on the floor. And he said, and the second big reason is me. I have a knack for getting the fans into the game, guys.
And he's modest. Karl Malone, Keefe gets it to Stockton. Look at that pass to Shandon Anderson.
Well, you know, when you're the best, it's hard to be humble, right?
Exactly. John Stockton in the flow of the game. Keefe started it, got it to the man. Stockton makes the beautiful bounce pass, and then with a flurry, Shandon Anderson with a jam. Take a look.
We have a technical foul.
And a technical foul has been called on Eldon Campbell after that play concluded.
That started on the other end. When he turned into the basket, he thought he was fouled, stayed there and complained rather than worrying about getting back, and you saw the easy layup on the other end. And Del Harris's Lakers are in danger of losing control of this game in this quarter. Bangs into him, goes up. In reality, the official, I thought, made a good non-call.
Utah, 8-0 run, leading 38-22. Lakers looking for points. Bryant tried to take it down on the baseline and was fouled by Antoine Carr. That's his second personal foul. The Lakers, without Nick Van Exel, they've been without Shaquille O'Neal for 27 games. Shaquille was injured on February 12th, gone 17-12 in that period. But without Nick Van Exel, it's really a problem running things on the floor. If Fisher's not out there, you have rookie Kobe Bryant. We're talking about him being able to play 3 positions, actually playing the point guard spot.
Yeah, and they're pretty much gone to their post-up game. Very few plays, or what they call an out play where a shooter comes off, they go inside to try to make something happen, and they're getting nothing done basically with that.
McLeod, who just checked into the game with the miss, Horry with the rebound and the putback inside of Greg Foster, and it's a 14-point Utah Jazz lead.
Well, fast break points. Utah now has 18. The Lakers have 0, and that's basically the difference in the game.
Think about several years ago, it'd be all Lakers with a fast break point. John Stockton just kind of lulled rookie Kobe Bryant to sleep, and then Stockton drove for the easy layup.
Well, he took him off the screen. He got no help off the screen. Somebody's got to step out and try to help him.
Cloud misses. Horry with another follow on the rebound. Stockton has 9 points in this game already, by the way. It's 40-26 Utah. By 14, 5:10 remaining in the first half. This doesn't look much different than the way Utah was playing against the sub-500 teams in the last few games. Into Adam Keefe, who short-armed it when he saw Horry coming. Foster.
And Utah, very mature club. They've got the lead. They'll bring it out. Try to look for a very good shot. Come off the screen again.
And their fans love everything they do here. That was touched by LA. It'll be Utah ball. 7 on the shot clock, however. 5. You know Stockton knows. Bryant, look at his leaping ability. He kept that alive, but the man to gather the loose ball was Shandon Anderson, who had good inside position. Jazz 42, Lakers 26.
You know, and watching Kobe Bryant, because he was the man at Lower Merion High School and pretty much could do anything he wanted, when you translate to this level, he still thinks he can do that. He'll learn that he can, and he'll learn where his openings are as he matures as a player.
Here's Kobe Bryant. Inside pull-up jumper on the baseline. Very difficult shot.
There's no question about his talent. He has real skills in every area of this game. He can do about what he wants to do. It'll depend on what they demand of him. Kobe has scored 7 points. Here's Bryant. This time he fakes, goes to the baseline, sneaks inside, comes to a stop, then fades away behind the corner of the backboard, still nails him. That tells you what the 18-year-old can do.
He's 3 out of 6 from the floor, too.
You know, one of the Lakers are talking to the officials. They're talking to Ori's talking to Dan Crawford. And when you come into an arena and your club isn't playing real hard with a lot of energy, the officials know it, and they kind of don't give you the kind of breaks that you will get if you give the kind of energy. And a lot of the old time, the Jake O'Donnells, those people, the Olstroms say, your club doesn't deserve it. They're not working hard enough. And I think it's significant.
Ori was talking to Dan Crawford because he picked up the foul on that play. Karl Malone with 12 points now, 3:47 to go in the first half. Trying to take advantage of the size mismatch, but the double team came with Kobe Bryant. And we're going to get an offensive foul as Kobe Bryant turned around and ran right over John Stockton, even without the ball.
Well, John Stockton knows how to pick up those kind of fouls. Very cagey player defensively. Knows when he won't really get nailed, but knows the kind of cuts that players will make, and knows where the official is. It's just years and years of experience.
Karl Malone on the baseline with 12 points here before the half. Another Malone assist. Would have been an assist. Greg Foster misses, battles for it. Utah ball. Well, Malone missed it. Greg Foster just lost control of the ball on his first opportunity. Hustled to get it back again.
And made some kind of great pass over a double team to a cutting Foster on the baseline who missed the easy shot.
Now Derek Fisher back in for Kobe Bryant. Russell shoulders into Fisher. Foster can't get that one to fall. He's going to get frustrated. We'll look out.
A great hustle by the Utah Jazz has allowed them to keep getting shot after shot on the board. They keep it alive. Watch the play by superstar Karl Malone. Watch the jump over. How about that? Tip. Watch carefully here. Works his way out. Stumbling. Uses his forearm. Nails Larry Drew and jump hurdles the chair. Saves himself.
Shandon Anderson, unforced turnover here, just lost the dribble. It's out of bounds. Going to be Los Angeles Lakers ball. Foster off the bench. We were talking about Greg Foster being frustrated inside, but he has 4 offensive rebounds, 2 of those off his own misses.
Nothing but hard work. I mean, it's getting in there and continuing to jump. And jumping's the hardest part of the game, conditioning-wise. It's not running. It's continuous jumping.
Rooks just pounded his way inside. John Rooks at the free throw line. A chance to pull the Lakers to within 14. But doesn't. Keith gets the rebound. 2:46 to go in the period. Utah looking mighty good. 3 of their starters have played all 75 of their games, including, of course, the 2 key players. There's Malone passing to Stockton and the foul. Fouls on Ori, his second.
That's a basic play where they run a split and slip the split. And in order to stop, take a look at this. This is interesting. There's the cut. They'll hit Malone. Watch carefully. Hold it right there if you can. Watch here. They didn't even set the screen. He came across. He's going to go. Missed the rest of it, but he just slipped the screen and went through to the basket and drew the foul.
John Stockton, an 84% free throw shooter. Campbell sitting on the bench. Campbell's missed a couple of games recently, 3 games, with a deep bruise in the buttock. Tell me this, Chuck. How come you can say buttock but not butt?
You know, you'll have to ask someone else, and you just did.
2:28 to go in the half. Jazz 46, Lakers 29. Utah hit all their free throws, 11 out of 11. Utah shoots them at 76%, one of the top free throw shooting clubs in the NBA. Eddie Jones.
There was a classic backdoor and a great pass by Ora, one-handed bounce pass. And now they're going to go into this little trap. The Lakers like to do this when they get down. They'll start showing a little more trap, either 1-3-1 or 1-2-2. A lot of 1-3-1 to try to create some offense for themselves.
Pick and roll with Stockton and Malone, and the inside pass to Adam Keefe, who should have had that bucket. Derek Fisher probing inside. Draws the foul before the shot. Didn't go anyway. Adam Keefe picks up the personal. We've got more and more games coming your way as we're tuning up for the playoffs. Coming on Friday, doubleheader, Charlotte at Detroit. Big game for both teams. Phoenix at LA. How about Phoenix? They go 0 for 13 to start the season. Now they're in the playoffs. Best turnaround, I think, from that kind of start to the playoffs in the NBA. Utah's at Phoenix on Tuesday, and New York at Miami. Actually, that's Chicago at Miami.
Yes, it is.
Unless they changed and not told us. So.
Yeah, exactly. It is Chicago at Miami.
Both of those teams pretty much locked in to where they are. We're talking about Chicago and Miami, our game next week. So we'll see a couple of teams getting ready for the playoffs next Wednesday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what kind of a meaningful game it is. But knowing both of those coaches, they want to get their key players conditioning minutes game-wise because they won't play until Thursday.
Oh, my baby! Karl Malone. You talk about power forward. This is why it's called power forward.
He slips it. Great pass from Hornacek. Hello.
Corey Blunt with a pretty hard foul, too.
You see, he was coming over to set a screen, then he just faked it. It's one of the things you have to guard against. It's one of the rules of defense that you must take the screener to the person he's going to screen. Otherwise, he could slip on you.
Jazz already scored 49 points. They're second in the NBA in scoring with nearly 103 a game. At 49 here with a minute 20 to go in the first half. Looking to post up Brooks against Malone. Derek Fisher for 3. Brooks with a big board. And that's going to be fouled against Utah. It's against Malone. Do you think, as of the regular season, the Bulls in Utah, who have the best records, are the best 2 teams in the NBA?
Well, based on what's transpired this year, and the West is a question because of all the injuries and the turmoil in Seattle. When Kemp doesn't show up, then you're going to have problems in Seattle. Then you've got the Houston injury problems, you've got the Laker injury problems. But I think a lot of that will be resolved come playoff time and could change the picture out west before we get a winner out here.
1 through 8, though, I think the East is stronger, clearly, don't you, in terms of competitive balance?
I would say 1 through 8 very definitely. At least 1 through 6 or 7, no question. We're going to have 3 teams out west who are probably going to make it under 500.
The double team on Stockton. Hornacek lets it down to Russell. Nice ball fake. The indecision on who the ball belongs to. Utah. Under a minute to go first half. 49-35 Jazz.
Well, the Lakers are showing that little trap every time down now. And when you have to attack that kind of trap, you've got to make shots unless you could get the ball inside. Out of and out of bounds, they'll have to go straight man.
See Rooks push Karl Malone right off that pick. Nice play by Sean Rooks. No whistle either. Corey Blunt with the rebound to Derek Fisher. We have 37 seconds to go in the half. As blocked, who got it? Adam Keefe or Malone? Malone off his shoulder. Didn't see the pass coming. It rattles home.
Well, Fisher's going for a 2-for-1 with 39 seconds. He gets blocked, and then they had a chance, 2-for-1. Russell throws it to Malone, who isn't looking, running down the middle of the floor. Russell should have kept the ball, let Malone motor like he do, because he beats most smaller guys down the court.
Fisher has, by the way, 8 points in the first half, and the Lakers are making a bit more of a game on this little mini run. Stockton splits everybody, gets an uncontested layup.
Same play. They're not hedging on that pick and roll and making it very tough to stop John Stockton.
Well, Stockton and Malone, that's how we open the show. Like when you do Utah, you open with Stockton and Malone. And why? How about this? 15 and 13. And they're both delivering the ball. Stockton stealing the ball. Malone rebounding. Utah outscores LA 27-19 in the second period.
The Mega Sprite bottle. It's big. It's real big. But it ain't that big.
It's big to me.
There are many.
Karl Malone doing it as usual.
In 19 minutes, 15 points. You can see it. Rebounds, 2 assists. A typical Karl Malone game, and really hasn't drawn a sweat.
I know it's not politically correct, but Cheryl Miller's one of those photogenic persons in television.
You're exactly right. And the animation to go with it. And she's going to be coaching in the WNBA, the Mercuries of Phoenix, and will be a good one.
Yeah, we'll miss her here, but I hope she'll be back next year after the season's over.
Oh, she will be. That's a short season. That's a short season.
You see the smile. I think she can do it. We're embarrassing her.
She loves it.
Yep. Out of the studio. She's usually with Ernie Johnson or Vince Delaney. And out here on the road. 51-37 Utah. Opening moments, third quarter. Karl Malone now with 17 points.
Physical, catches the ball, uses his big wide frame and arms, hooks Campbell and puts it up on the offside.
Derek Fisher gets it into the corner. Robert.
One of the great things that can happen though in NBA basketball: shoot yourself in, shoot yourself out. You make some shots and some good things really happen, but not that one.
Robert Horry goes flying. Malone with a lay-in. He has 19. 55-39. Utah. Karl is 7 of 10. Most of those shots have been pretty easy shots for him. Eldon Campbell missing again. Eldon Campbell only 1 of 5 tonight. Has only 2 points, 4 turnovers. Only played 12 minutes in the first half.
How many times have we seen this? Stockton knows where he's going to go baseline. He just seals off the defense, twists the ball off the glass, and makes it look so easy. But they've done it thousands and thousands of times.
Ostertag picked up his third personal there as Eldon Campbell steps to the free throw line. He's a 70% free throw shooter. As I say that, he misses. We're understanding, we hear that Shaquille O'Neal, no official word from the Lakers, Shaquille O'Neal will be back on Friday to play. That's not confirmed, but that's what Ryan Burwell tells us, and Cheryl Miller says she hears the same thing. Probably see Shaq back on Friday in LA, and these two teams will play again in LA on Sunday, Utah and LA.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game because this club will have come off the road, the Lakers, and if they get Shaq back, should give them some energy, and they'll want to retaliate because they're getting hammered pretty good tonight. Not only basketball-wise, but physically, they're getting taken to school.
15-point Jazz lead with 10:32 to go in the third quarter. And an unusual unusual turnover for the Utah Jazz. Actually, they've committed 9 turnovers in this game. Lakers 10. More than usual for either team. Derek Fisher playing at the point, place of Nick Van Exel, has that sore knee and is not here along with Shaq. Eddie Jones, 3.
They're starting to heat up. Their outside shots going a little bit better, and already they're back within 12. All they need is a couple of stops. They're going to have to energize against this club. This club knows how to execute and where to go with the basketball. Watch carefully.
They had Eddie Jones.
No chance. If you're going to front them, then you've got to pressure the ball, and you've got to get weak side help. And if you do that, it's one thing to try to take catches away from Karl. But Karl is so smart, and this club is so smart about getting the ball because they've seen all kinds of defenses throughout their career.
Karl's hit his last 7 shots, by the way. Shot clock down to 5. Kobe Bryant double clutching. Corey kept it alive, but it ends up in the hands of Russell and Stockton, and the Jazz moving. Russell from Stockton. Hornacek gets his own long rebound. Inside Malone. Just kind of sneaked along the baseline. In between Ori and Campbell. Got the pass, and it's 59-43.
Well, Cheryl talked about transition defense. It's one thing to get back there. It's another thing you better get matched up. And knew there were only 3 white jerseys against 4 blue jerseys and or purple jerseys. They should have been able to do something about Malone sneaking inside all of them.
Campbell throws it away. That'll be a turnover. 8:49 to go in the period. You see all you need to see about the feelings of Del Harris.
The other night he said he ran out of bullets. He turned it over to the assistants, and Bill Burtka put in a new lineup, and they came back and actually won the game. He may have to resort that tonight because the club is having a tough night tonight.
Yeah, that was the night that they held Dallas to 2 points in the 3rd quarter. Outscored Dallas 27-2 in the 3rd period, and Del Harris said it in the paper. He says, I ran out of bullets, and I turned it over to Bill Burtka and Larry Drew. Well, now might be a good time to do that tonight. 3rd quarter. They're down 59-43. Through the crowd there's Bill Burtka. Stockton picked up the personal. Bill, most people remember from his great days as the assistant coach to Pat Riley, winning the championships.
And has stayed on through all of the coaches in L.A. Used to have a scouting service, still does. Collegiate scouting service out of Santa Barbara. I believe his wife runs it.
Derek Fisher from Arkansas Little Rock, the rookie who stepped in to play behind Nick Van Exel at the point guard. Fisher's 6'1".
You know, in watching Fisher tonight, he isn't probing the defense. He looks like he's waiting for the team to set up and get the ball. Here's a little double team, trying to change up the tempo a little bit. Pretty active that time. He got a block on Karl Malone.
Yeah, Robert Horry got a piece of that, a big piece of that. Here's Fisher with the penetration.
Come on, Bryant.
Ostertag at 7-2 with the rebound. Nearly stolen by Eddie Jones. Stockton works it inside to Russell, and Ori gives him the foul. Here's Ori with the shot block on the last trip for the Utah Jazz.
Here's Stockton taking the double team trap, throwing back cross quarter. Hornacek, great play inside. But Ori comes and gets the block, and that's what he could do. His athleticism, he's got the size and the agility to get there.
Bad free throw attempt from Brian Russell. Although Jerry Sloan told us today that the 3 position, he thinks, along with the rest of the team playing well, has been really a key with Brian Russell stepping up. Said he builds his game off his defensive play.
Well, it's been erratic at that position over a number of years, and they've struggled when they need that 3rd scorer, whether it be Hornacek or their small forward. The Knights in the playoffs in particular, when they get that, they're a dangerous team. When they don't, they have problems.
Eddie Jones from about 25 feet back to a 12-point Jazz lead, but you hit it on the head, Chuck. Don't see any LA stops.
Now they come down, they either get to the free throw, the Jazz get to the free throw line, or they get a very good shot and score it again. But
did you see Hornacek not only get the rebound, but tip it over to his own man before the turnover? Hornacek incredibly underrated in my view as a 2 guard. Now heating up up a bit from the perimeter, and it is a 10-point game, 60-50. 7:14 to go in the third. A 7-1 run by the Los Angeles Lakers.
What movies do these classic adventures?
Karl Malone, Karl, terrific family. I always remember Karl Malone the year he was drafted from Louisiana Tech, crying when he was interviewed by Craig Sager. Oh, Malone's crying now, and it's not the same kind of tears. Wave away the basket.
And Steve's worried because he may pick up a technical, and that could cost him a few dollars that may diminish the bank account. Here it comes. He's backed in there, went up really strong. You know, could be either way. Very vociferous on his complaint.
Yeah, that's a foul on Robert Horry, his fourth in that possession. Hornacek with the ball fake. Campbell with the rebound. Now a chance for the Lakers to cut it to single digits. Kobe Bryant gets the double team. Fisher finds Eddie Jones. His ball fake, and he shoots a 16-footer. Eddie Jones, of course, an all-star, can really punish you if he gets hot offensively.
You know, frankly, shooting 39% from the field, but 37% from three. That was a two, but he's had 2 threes in this drive and got him within 8.
Malone. What's Malone have, like 70 points now? 25 points for Karl Malone.
Very quietly has 25, almost unnoticeable.
Athletic move to the basket by Eddie Jones, who's fouled. Let's hope he's all right. Eddie Jones went down pretty hard. Let's see if he's okay.
This is all they need is another injury. They've had a series of them. Here he gets up, though, and he'll go to the line. He got bumped. I think he came off of Stockton on that drive. Yeah. Let's see a replay. Here he comes into the lane. Here comes Stockton over to meet him and catches him with his leg and is out of control body-wise, goes down hard, misses the basket, and one of those incidental plays. They sure don't. Walking wounded. Last 8 games, Shaquille O'Neal 8 and on down the list. Horry 4, Campbell. They've had their share, but that's part of the NBA game.
There's a list again of the games missed in the last 8. Shaquille has actually missed 27 games. He was injured on February 12th. Is practicing again, in case you dialed in late. Is reported to probably be back in action for the Los Angeles Lakers Friday night.
There's that little trap again.
Russell. That's a triple.
What it does is give you, you know, against that defense, you'll get good outside shots, but you've got to continually make them from long range, and that's one of the tough things you're playing against the percentage.
Malone on Robert Horry. He's going to take him to the hoop. Kick it out to Fisher. Open man Jones. Had the chance for the 3. Too many passes, would you say?
Well, he passed to Campbell. Campbell was in a position really to catch the basketball. It was dropped though, but he was in position to catch it.
You're my pal. Karl Malone got a 20-second timeout there to save the turnover for the Utah Jazz. So they'll keep possession of the ball. 65-54 Utah. 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And we're going to take a look at some scores. The GMC scoreboard. Atlanta having their way with Philadelphia. Atlanta's led by a lot in that game right from the get-go. Charlotte leading Boston. There are only, I think, 3 games in the East, and Chicago finally has come back from behind over Indiana. And the only game out west is the one you're watching here tonight. You see tonight on CNN SI at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, you'll see the story on the Jose Mesa acquittal and an update on Roger Clemens with Fred Hickman, Nick Charles. CNN SI, the 24-hour sports news network from CNN and Sports Illustrated.
You know, in watching this game, you know, tonight, throughout the game, you would think that the Lakers have no chance. The way the Utah Jazz was executing and efficiently running the ball, forcing turnovers. And here, the Lakers are back in this game, even though they haven't played that well.
Yeah, a chance here to cut the lead to 9 or even less. Eddie Jones working with the ball. Not much to that shot. Brian Russell playing him pretty well defensively.
They really kept him under control and kept him in front of him, which he has to do. Took kind of an off-balance shot. Fortunately for the Lakers, they end up getting the ball. Malone loses it. Normally, he wouldn't lose a loose ball or an air ball like that.
Utah's biggest lead was 17. It's 11 at the moment, 14 on the shot clock. 5 minutes to go in the period. Foul on Hornacek as Kobe Bryant goes down.
You know, for whatever reason, the Utah Jazz seem to be complaining a lot more about fouls tonight than normally I have seen. That one in case was a little bit more of a slip than a foul, but there obviously was some contact according to the official. It doesn't matter after the call is made. There's not much you can do about it.
Maybe they're trying to model themselves after the Bulls. I don't know, they called the Bulls angry with me for that. Fisher missing.
You just did your last Bulls.
That's it. That's not good news. I take that back. Well, the Bulls do talk to the officials, as we all know. Does do a lot of good. 4:32 in the third period. Shot clock down to 8. Tried to thread the needle with too small an eye. There's Derek Fisher's fouled by Hornacek.
Unusual play there. He had 3-on-2. They didn't keep their spacing. He left his feet. I thought he was kind of out of control and had no place to go because I thought he was going to take a bad shot. But fortunate for Derek Fisher, he picks up the foul against Jeff Hornacek.
Yeah, it's his third, and Fisher goes to the free throw line. Derek Fisher, not a good free throw shooter, 65%. Crowd is booing a replay. They saw that you didn't.
Here's the example. He's decided to take it all away. He catches his leg on Hornacek as Hornacek is turning, and really Hornacek couldn't do much about it, but the official felt he had to make some kind of a call since he was flipped in the air.
Chance to cut the Jazz lead to 9 for Derek Fisher. Told you he's only shooting 65%, the rookie from Little Rock.
There's another look at it. He kind of leaped into him, caught him on the left thigh as Hornacek was moving away. And the official says, I've got to make some kind of a call.
That is a very fortunate chain of events off the missed free throws for the Los Angeles Lakers. They end up with a three-point play the hard way, and Eddie Jones has 12 points in this quarter, 16 in the game, and he has clearly led the comeback. A Malone bounce.
Kind of looked or he might have tipped that, or he tipped that in underhand, believe it or not. That ball was coming off the cylinder. I don't think they need any extra help the way the Lakers have played.
Bryant with the penetration gets it inside to Sean Rooks.
One of the things that Sean Rooks has to do is he's got to close on Malone when he faces. You cannot let him just stand there and give him space. He's too good of an outside shooter.
See Isley running the point for Utah now as Karl Malone passes inside to Isley, dribbles it off his foot, and it'll be Lakers ball with a chance to cut this lead to 7 or better with 3:27 to go in the period. Halftime score was 51-37 Utah.
Well, the Utah Jazz have been talking about their press, the radio people, all the media, and their fans talking about even Karl Malone. We need a close game. We need a tough game. And they may get it because once good things start to happen, energy picks up, and I think that's what we're seeing with the Lakers. All it takes is a couple of shots to go down.
Also 5 Utah turnovers this period. Not a well thought of shot by Kobe Bryant. Kobe, with all his talent, does play like a teenager every now and then. Isley, all the way to the hoop, he got past the aging Brian Scott. So Byron Scott and Eddie Jones, Sean Rooks, Robert Horry, and Kobe Bryant on the floor for the Lakers. Byron Scott.
Good ball movement out of the pick and roll. Wide open.
Punched away by Isley in the ball for the Lakers with 20 seconds on the shot clock, 2:40 in the period. Bryant, long range. Kobe Bryant not having himself a good game. 69-59 Utah.
Yeah, and he's taken 2 shots kind of out of context. Feels like he can make them. They're not going down, but there was plenty of time on the clock. Didn't need to take that long-range kind of shot.
Yeah, Kobe only 3 of 10 tonight, has 7 points. Had a lot of playing time, though.
You know, Utah has played so well in the first half. Then he comes to third quarter. Malone is 6 for 7, but the rest of the team is only 2 for 8 for a total of 5 points. It doesn't seem to have the balance. They're going to have to get back to balancing a little bit. And they're on a little downer and going to have to fight their way back into this game momentum-wise.
Well, they go back to Karl Malone on the post, and we get a hold on Eddie Jones as Hornacek tries to run through.
And that was a tough call for the official because Hornacek initiated the contact, forced himself into Jones, and then was running toward the basket. And so the official caught again, having to make a call.
Jones defending Hornacek, looking into Malone against Sean. Look at that pass to Isley. Couldn't handle it though. Ostertag is mugged. Don't see a lot of mugging here in Salt Lake City.
No, not a lot.
And the ball will belong to the Utah Jazz with 12 on the shot clock.
You know, walking around here a little bit last night, noticed a lot of new buildings, though, because of the upcoming Winter Olympics.
2002 Winter 2002. Winter Olympics. Now Hornacek's foul. And that's going to be Jerome Kersey, his third personal.
Good defensive play, though. They were looking for kind of a semi-double team because Kersey felt he had been, Hornacek had beaten his man and consequently beaten Eddie Jones, and he was trying to help out, got his hands up, and committed the foul.
Some of the Winter Olympics will be up in Park City area. I saw Mark Eaton, the former center for the Jazz, at halftime. Mark owns a restaurant here in town, Chuck, which you probably know. Nice save by Brian Russell. 10 on the shot clock. Isley stepped out of bounds. Another Utah turnover.
Malone on a post-up, and he looked at Isley. He suggested he should throw the ball into him. He decided to take a baseline and stepped on the line.
Brooks gets the double team. Open man is Byron Scott. He takes it inside and draws the foul. And the turnovers, you know, LA just started the game just losing the ball virtually every possession the first few minutes. And now Utah has turned the ball over more than LA, 13-12 with 6 turnovers this period.
Well, in the second half, it's been an entirely different game. The Lakers started off by making 2 or 3 threes, started to make their outside shots. Then they started to go to their set offense. They got a little more action. They've been able to drive a little bit more, go to the free throw line. There's an unusual miss by Byron Scott, who's an 84% shooter. And here's Mark Eaton, we just talked about, who has a restaurant.
Right there, he gave us the card.
Tuscany.
Is it legal to say that? Tuscany? Because I think if we say it 5 times, there's a free dinner there.
We're never here long enough. When it's 6 o'clock.
I told you.
So it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. We can't be convicted of that. However, I do understand, you'd appreciate this being the connoisseur of fine dining that you are, that it's a highly rated and regarded Italian restaurant here. Eddie Jones has been the man in this period for the Los Angeles Lakers as they pulled within 9 points.
All-star Eddie Jones there. He fakes, gets inside the three-point line, makes a shot there. He comes behind the line, nails a long-range shot. Again, a long-range shot. And he's the guy that's got them close.
Hornacek makes it a 10-point lead once again with 1:06 to go in the third period. Los Angeles Lakers are locked in that really tight battle between second and fourth for home court playoff advantage and for the number 2 spot, which is what everybody's looking for, of course, to stay out of the fourth. LA has to end up with a better record than Seattle in order to win the Pacific Division and finish second in the seeding.
You know, interesting, we talked to Jerry Sloan about this. They've had 17 losses, but have blown 8 fourth-quarter leads to lose 8 of those 17 games. And you know, there was no clear explanation to them because some of them were to good teams and some of them were to teams that are going to be in the lottery. So there was no explanation, but I'm sure that preys a little bit on their mind. I'm sure they examine it a little bit more than you think.
No whistle as Eddie Jones took it to the hoop and missed the lay-in. Leaves Howard Isley open with a 5-on-4. Look at that rebound from Horry. Out to Jerome Kersey. Lakers have the numbers.
Unfortunately for the Lakers, they got fouled because I'm not sure that they had the right guy handling the ball in the middle of the break.
You're sure? You can say it. Isley picks up the personal. I think that could have been disaster, but Rooks instead will go to the free throw line. Sean Rooks, a 66% free throw shooter. More NBA coming your way on Turner Sports. Charlotte at Detroit and Phoenix at the Lakers. two excellent games Friday night. I'm going to cancel my night on the town and stay in and see those. Utah at Phoenix next Tuesday. Obviously a good one because Phoenix is now locked into a playoff spot. And Chicago at Miami on Wednesday. You and I will be down for that game.
Well, that'll be an interesting game because we don't know where it will be in terms of what's needed, if there is anything. Everything may have been decided. But knowing Riley and knowing Jackson, they'll want their key guys to play some pretty strong minutes. And it might be a little bit of a preview of what could happen in the East. Miami playing very, very well and able to win games on the road.
Well, they're definitely, in terms of one-loss records, going into the playoffs, the two best teams in the East, Chicago and Miami. New York, Detroit, Atlanta kind of battling down for the rest of the top five there. 71-61 Utah, 13 seconds in the period. Oster tag, tough shot. Just beat the buzzer on the shot clock. Eddie Jones gets an offensive foul. Nicely done by Russell.
Very well done, and Eddie was a little out of control. I think between looking at the clock, trying to get off a shot, and just lost control, and Russell took the charge and gave the Utah Jazz an opportunity with 2.3.
Opportunity for somebody to get a shot up here. It's going to be LA. And that'll end the period. The Jazz lead it 71-61. LA cuts the 17-point deficit to 10. We got ourselves a ball game with 12 minutes remaining. Karl Malone had 12 in this period, too, for 27 in the game. The number 2 scorer in the NBA. I'd say that would be significant. Travis Knight inside. That's going to be goaltending from Greg Foster. And it's an 8-point game. 71-63. So the Lakers have Travis Knight, Jerome Kersey, Sean Rooks, Kobe Bryant, and Byron Scott on the floor. Stockton is back in with Keith, Foster, Malone, and Shandon Anderson with the ball.
Well, Travis Knight, who's done an outstanding job for the Lakers this year, has only played 2 minutes tonight. He's coming off a little bit of energy. I think they're trying to buy some minutes for their key guys down the stretch, and he'll probably not play a great deal of time unless something unusual happens.
Chance to cut the lead to 6 or less. Kobe Bryant struggled tonight. Got himself in trouble off the dribble there. Jerome Kersey from the baseline. He has that shot. The veteran drains it. It is a 6-point game.
This is not what you like to happen with Jerry Sloan, where they kind of ease through it, keep going, and keep making a run at you, and you can't seem to get away from it. That time the Lakers traveled, and they made the pass to Malone. He just took it right down the gut and was fouled.
Yeah, we were talking to Jerry Sloan about the 8 blown fourth-quarter leads. Phil Johnson kind of sparked a little bit, as seen to his left there. He says, "I'll check the other teams. I think other teams blow leads too."
True story. True story.
But that's somewhat significant for a team as good as the Utah Jazz. And it's funny, after Phil Johnson said that, he immediately named the games, the actual games that they lost, and when and where and how. Coaches forget nothing. I'm telling you.
No, that's something I would think that you would sit around and say, you know, as the season winds down, you say, why did we lose these games? Were they back-to-back? What is the particular reason? And maybe you figure out one little thing, substitution-wise or whatever, that might help you down the road.
29, Karl Malone now. Stop. And here come the Jazz. Get it out front to Shandon Anderson. That's a hard bounce. Got an offensive foul on the rookie.
There's where an official earns his money. A very, very tough call. And either way it went, the coach was not going to be happy. Look here. Yeah, he's still moving. But he was like a runaway truck, so whoever was coming the hardest got the call.
Pick and roll with Rooks and Bryant. Rooks is fouled on the drive by Adam Keefe. His third. We're talking about the blown leads in case it happens here tonight.
Well, in the case of Houston, they were both very good. You know, they were healthy at that time and playing very well. Phoenix was not playing very well. San Antonio with a lottery record this year. Toronto is very difficult at home. Portland very difficult at home. So understandable, can happen. And did happen.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Dean of NBA coaches, 9 years here with the Utah Jazz. And of course, that's paralleled the great careers of Stockton and Malone. Brooks has 10 points, 5 rebounds tonight. He's been playing pretty well recently.
Here they go back to the trap again, and they've got to be careful not giving up an easy basket in this kind of situation. They're going to have to match up out of it after they get into a clock a little bit further, which they have now.
Yeah, Carr against the rookie. Carr, a born scorer.
And he did exactly that. And Knight coming at him, Brooks playing him. Had a tough time getting.
Kobe Bryant got in some trouble, dished it off to Travis Knight. Loose ball foul called on Knight.
Good hustle by Travis Knight, though. He's really earned his keep. He was the, I believe, the 29th pick of Chicago. They had to let him go, and the Lakers picked him up. Great contributor. They want to know how to keep him because he could be a valuable find in this league.
7 feet, 240 pounds from UConn. He's been out recently, some with a sore knee also. Stockton driving inside of Scott. He knows he can beat the veteran Byron Scott off the dribble.
Took him off the dribble, but what a play to get that close to the basket. They'll then take it to your chest and still get it up on the glass to score. That's a tough play.
Foul on Utah before Sean Wilkes gets the shot off. As Jazz built the lead back to 10 points. It's on John Stockton. Make it Carr, who's picked up 3.
Take a look at this play. Here he goes. Goes baseline. Watch right here. He's running out of room. Goes up, but he knows how to lean back, spin it, get it off the glass, get it home.
Gonzaga's favorite son. Bryant. That foul against Utah.
And very fortunate because I thought he was out of control. Had the pass, which he does on occasion, but he got away with it that time and picked up the foul. Let's see what happens. There's the return pass. He makes the scissor cut. He does that a lot. He doesn't like to swing the ball. He likes to get into the defense, and he's rather fortunate on that play.
That's 4 on Antoine Carr. A lot of minutes for Kobe Bryant in this game tonight.
Well, Bryant's got to learn, because he gets limited minutes, he comes off the bench, and he's young. He's got to learn a little more patience. When he's a standard starter and gets his 34 minutes, then he won't have to worry about trying to force his way into getting a shot.
Kobe's usually a very good free throw shooter, 83%. Missed that one. 77-68, Jazz by 9. 9:13 to go in the game. Adam Keefe in the paint. 6 on the shot clock. Pick and roll. 4. Greg Foster. Travis Knight, big rebound. Kobe Bryant. 3 on 2. There's the athleticism, but maybe the bad decision making as Kobe tried to lay that ball in. Foster is fouled on the drive.
And John Stockton walking over to Foster, giving him a high five or a low five. You know why? Because he wants him to run.
I know why he can't give him a high five, because he can't reach it, as you take a look at Kobe Bryant with the little fingertip.
Kobe's done that 3 or 4 times tonight. Not a bad play, but just not quite ready to make it. And then it ends up on the other end, which could have been a 3-point play. Could end up in 2 because he missed the basket.
Greg Foster, Texas El Paso, 6th year in the league. He's 6'11", 240, and is the 3rd center in the rotation behind O'Neal, Eldon Campbell. Behind Ostertag. They'd like to have him in that rotation. Utah, 19 of 20 from the free throw line.
One of the things about Utah, they're such an experienced club. They never panic. They'll always use the shot clock when they have to. Even down the stretch, being 4 or 5 down doesn't bother them. That bothers them.
Scott has worked so hard to get some other shots off, and he just took that one with a quick release. And the lead is now 8 points for Utah. 8:23 to go in the game. Stockton using Carr and is giving him the ball.
Well, Stockton made that play because he beat Bryant off the dribble. Bryant's having a hard time keeping Stockton in front of him.
Kobe Bryant caught that long pass as he went out of bounds. Good defensive play by the big body of Antoine Carr.
Del Harris felt he was ridden out of bounds on the play.
There's no question there was body contact there. I guess they figured the ball was up for grabs. 10-point Utah lead with 8:05 to go.
Well, they got Byron Scott on Stockton. Let's see if he can contain him.
Brandon Anderson. Open for the jumper. Nice touch.
Well, Stockton will only look for the drive if he has to. His club's in trouble. Otherwise, he'll run the offense, try to get it to the right guy, the guy who is open for the shot.
Brooks gets the double team. Eddie Jones. Not this time. Stockton. He probes the weaknesses so beautifully, and Del Harris calls the timeout.
Just looks it off and knew exactly where everyone was on the break, knew where he wanted to go with the basketball.
8-3 run. The Lakers had cut it to 6, and the Jazz have rebuilt the lead to 14.
She's trapped.
A single gesture.
Jazz built their lead again to 14 points now with 7:25 as the Lakers made a run there in the 13th behind Eddie Jones plays. You look at the fast break points, 24-2. That's the name of the tune for this 14-point lead for Utah. LA had cut the lead to 6. It's back to 14. Eddie Jones working against Russell inside. Russell got a piece of that. Played very good defense tonight has Brian Russell, and is rewarded on the other end from Stockton.
And John Stockton, as I said, when he gets the ball in the backcourt, he takes a look right, left, and slightly behind him. He wants to see where everyone is on the floor. There was a perfect example. He knew exactly where to go with the ball. In the meantime, he knows where the defense is and how many people are back.
Utah will host the Houston Rockets here Friday night. That'll be a tough game. Then they go to play Sunday at LA. So they have 3 of their closest competitors, 3 games against close competitors in 5 days. Stockton is so poised. He's seen so much and done so much. He just waves it around, looks for what he needs to do. Shot clock down to 10. They set up the pick and roll. Surprise, surprise. Inside, outside, Foster.
Beautiful play. Instead of going back to the wide open Foster, he went to the cutter in the lane. The cutter lane, instead of forcing the shot, kicks it back to Foster, who had rolled down, and he nails the shot.
You give him half an assist there. The assist will go from in the middle, but Stockton initiated it again. What a player to watch. You coached him in the Dream Team, but he was hurt most of the time, wasn't he, on Dream Team 1?
Yeah, he in reality only played 1.5 games. He played very few minutes, had a very bad leg. But we did want to get him in the action, which he was able to do because on occasion we had a lead.
In our lifetime, there'll never be a team like Dream Team 1.
Well, it's kind of historic, majestic, if you like. Players from 3 eras who won championships, legendary players, and that's what made it rather special.
It was. That was great to remember. 20-point lead. The Jazz saying no fourth quarter letdown here tonight, boys. 91-71 Utah with 5:34 to go. And Utah has outscored LA 12-0. And Greg Foster, who's a pretty decent offensive player, particularly when the plays are run so effectively.
10 seconds on shot clock. There's the pick and roll. Stockton sees Keefe cutting into the lane, then kicks it to Foster, who was wide open. What a great play. And here's another one. Throws it back to the pick and roll. Foster measures, takes his time. Yes.
Foster's played well here tonight. Again, Ostertag starts and is you'd call him the starting center, but when they go small like this, it's not really small. Actually, you know, Utah, if you take Ostertag, is a relatively small team by NBA standards.
Yeah, they really are. You know, Malone is big physically, broad-wise, but they're not a big club.
6 on the shot clock.
Jerry Sloan touched on that today, and that's why in the playoffs, they're no lock, because if they have to play against a big center like Shaquille, like Olajuwon, this has proven to be a problem for them, the David Robinson of the world, when they get deep into the playoffs. It's interesting that the 2 wins against LA, they're about to get their 3rd here out of 3 meetings this year. The first 2 wins were substantial wins also, Utah over LA, and they were with Shaquille O'Neal. But I agree with you, and certainly the coaching staff here knows that Ostertag's got real problems playing man-on-man. They have to double team and play somebody like Olajuwon. When you get to the playoffs and you want to be the more successful club, will be able to play straight-up defense more than others. And when you do that, the more trapping you do, the more wide-open shots you allow teams to get. Robert Horry, he's been hurt recently, too. Got that rebound and put back with 4:45 to go in this ball game.
Lakers played last night at Golden State. Didn't get a shoot-around today, and have played flat most of the game, with the exception of the third quarter. Pass inside, Foster to Keith, count the basket, add the foul. Foster playing well here tonight.
More excited, and he thought he was John Stockton on that play. What a great pass. Watch the penetration. Catches the ball on the wing, penetrates inside, one bounce, boom, sees O'Keefe. O'Keefe takes it up strong, goes to the foul line.
Foster, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists.
As a coach, if you can get guys to think in terms of passing and be happy about it, then you're going to be a pretty good basketball team.
4:27 to go, 21-point lead, 94-73. Utah will be only 2 wins away from setting a franchise record for most wins in a regular season. Their record is 60. They'll go to 59-17 tonight. They set the 60 wins in 94-95, but as Jerry Sloan well knows, we talked to him about it today, none of that matters about their regular season wins if Utah doesn't break their reputation of being a poor performer in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they've done reasonably well. They got to the Western Finals one year. They just have not been able to get over that hump and at least get to the finals. And I think if they're ever going to do it, I think this has to be the year, because who knows how long Stockton and Malone can keep going at the same pace.
Yeah, Larry Miller will have a whole different situation in his hands when he's not dealing with Malone and Stockton, as he well knows, is the owner of this franchise.
Well, they well could go on for 2 or 3 more years and have, you know, very successful years. But when you get up there, that injury bug sometimes lights in the wrong place.
See Malone taping up. Karl Malone and John Stockton have missed only 4 games each in their careers. Shandon Anderson with some punishment down inside. Chuck, who is the MVP? Michael Jordan, Malone, anybody else?
Well, you know, those they're 2 of the guys, Jordan and Malone. Look at the stats. Jordan outscores him. Rebounds, much greater advantage by Malone. Field goal percentage, Malone plays inside more. No MVPs, no rings for Mr. Malone, and that's probably the difference. You know, as I stated before, Mr. Jordan, number 23, goes in with it 1 before the season starts, and then you've got to knock him off his throne. And Karl Malone is making a great case for that. As I said earlier, he's definitely made a race out of it, and I think a lot of people are starting to take a look at it, and I think we'll see Chicago and Mr. Jordan pick it up a little bit.
If you had to vote tonight, who would you vote for?
I'd still vote for Michael because they have the best record in the league.
I knew I was going to put you under pressure. You're unbelievable. You just snap off the answer just like that. That's the same kind of questions I'd apply to you when you were coaching Detroit. Except then you'd say, get out of my face if you want to come back in this locker room.
No.
Don't be asking me those
I would
kinds of
defer to
questions.
my assistant. Please answer that. I don't know what the man said.
Brendan
Malone, Brendan Sewer.
Yeah, you'd usually send
Ronnie Rothstein.
No. I always
Dick
got
Versace.
No. I always got Lambeer.
You went to the right guy.
Appreciate, by the way. Bryant with the free throw. This is going to be a Jazz victory here tonight. Utah has been in control of this game the whole way, with the one exception of the mini run by LA in the third quarter, where the point spread was cut to 6 points. And the Lakers record is going to go to 52-24, and they're going to be 17-13 since Shaquille O'Neal went out of the lineup. We told you earlier, Shaquille has been practicing with his team. He's working out with the Magic Johnson team even while LA is here, and is possibly, even probably, going to be back on Friday night. We have that game for you on TNT.
Craig Foster again, 46% shooter, averaging only 3 points a game, but tonight 10 points and made a great dish off.
And Sean Rooks, who's played very well of late, has not been able to get it going offensively down in the post. Eldon Campbell has been absent in this game tonight. Now, Eldon Campbell had missed some games because of a very deep bruise in his right buttock. 3 points, only 1 of 6 for Eldon Campbell tonight. And I'll bet Eldon Campbell hasn't played 20 minutes.
He has struggled tonight. He's had a couple of big games since he's been back, but he was playing outstanding basketball for most of the time when Shaq was on.
Yeah, Campbell played 12 minutes in the first half, hasn't played much in the second half at all. 7 minutes, so it's 19. My guess was close. From long range, that is a long-range shooter, George McLeod. McLeod, before he came to L.A., was averaging like 24 minutes a game. He plays only about 13 with L.A.
He was drafted by Indiana. They thought he was going to be a point guard. What he's turned out to be is a kind of model of a Dale Ellis. When he was with Dallas, became a terrific three-point shooter, has floated around, needs the playing time and the situation to be that kind of player. Kicked it off nicely there.
To Corey Blunt, also a player who has not been much of a factor in this game is Corey Blunt for the Lakers, who's been starting at the forward spot since Campbell's had to move into center and all the positional rearrangements because of the injuries.
He's charming, charismatic.
18-point Utah lead, minute 59 to go. Cheryl Miller, Chuck and I have been talking about the MVP. Why don't you do a survey of a random unbiased fan about what, say, this lady would think is an MVP candidate?
And we might as well go ahead and ask you straight on, Kay. What do you think about your husband's chances of winning the MVP this season?
Well, I'm excited because I think there's a lot of support from the fans here in Utah and also around the country. He's got numerous letters, faxes from a lot of people saying that he deserves it and stuff, but Karl talks about if he did get it, he'd be excited just because it was a team effort, not just him individually.
Well, it always seems that Karl's always been the type of player that is very durable, but in the offseason, he changed things up. What did he do in his workout?
This summer, like I was telling you, he totally changed his whole exercise routine. He works out with a good friend of his, Isaac Austin, from Miami Heat, and they did a lot of weight training last year. This summer, he totally did a different kind of training, which was a spinning class on the spinning bike, and he eventually taught the classes, and so he did that twice a day, every day this whole summer.
Well, Chuck wants to know, are those really real? I mean, they were giving you a hard time about your jewelry. They are diamonds. Go ahead and touch them.
Yes, Chuck, they're real, because don't you remember your little robes you used to wear in Barcelona that we were hoping you'd take off at the pool?
Whoa.
Take it off, Big Chuck. Take it off.
Wait a minute. Let's not leave this. The robe at the pool in Barcelona.
The reason I was asking is because Rodman wants those earrings.
Yeah, Chuck, try to divert this. Yeah, the robe at the pool. I'm not going to let it go, Cheryl. Okay, I got this going. What is the story? Robe at the pool, Barcelona. Huh?
We can talk a lot about that in Monaco.
You're great. You could be an easy politician. You're just gonna not deal with it. Kay said those are real diamonds.
Yeah, well, what would you expect of Kay and Karl Malone?
Former Miss Idaho. Yeah. This Utah team, there's no question that Karl Malone is, along with Stockton, and everybody knows this, is the heart and soul of the team. However, there's no question that without Karl Malone, this basketball team might not even be 500.
They would struggle to be 500 because he's such a dominant physical force, and to match that, rebounding, scoring, and all the other things that he does, he's huge. The same thing would happen probably in Chicago, except they've got Pippen, they've got Kukoc, they've got Rodman, so they might have a few more weapons than this particular club has.
Well, that's interesting. We talk about Utah. Let's stay with that just a moment here. It's 185 with a minute 3 to go with Chicago and Utah. Chicago's starting 5, maybe more talent, even if you get down as far as Kukoc. But 1 through 8 or 10, Utah may match a little better in terms of depth. What do you think?
I'm not sure of that. I think it would be very close to even if you went that deep into it, because you're talking about Kukoc coming off the bench for one, and now they've added Bryant Williams. So
somehow that seems unfair.
Yeah, that does seem. That's like the old Yankees when you used to hire a 20-game winning pitcher at the end of the year, which the rules changed.
Yeah. Yeah, Chicago's still the team to beat until somebody proves otherwise. But out here in Utah, they don't care about what you say about Chicago. They know that this team is on their way to winning their 59th game of the season. What are they now? Going to be 26-3, if my memory serves me right, since the All-Star break.
Yeah, they have
maybe
really
4.
turned up notch. And I think schedule had something to do that. Perhaps they had more home games. They'd played a lot of road games. But they've had a sensational year. But they've done this before. And the key is what's going to happen in playoffs. But this year it's different because they have home court and they have only themselves to blame if they can't defend it. And it's a little harder to defend than you think when you get deep into the playoffs.
Well, and I know Utah remembers losing a critical game in the playoffs last year in the Western Conference Finals here at home to Seattle. And they will remember that. That could prove to be an inspiration to them, of course.
Yeah, former player of Detroit and played with Hubie Brown and then of the New York Knicks. Been around, a terrific defensive player and doing a good coaching job up there in Toronto.
101-86, 29 seconds left in this ball game. And Utah has been solid all night long. Impressive every way. And the Lakers have played like you might expect them to play on a back-to-back game. They played last night. Then they turn and come in here without Shaquille, without Nick Van Exel. Derek Fisher, bit of a disappointment at the point guard tonight. He played very well last night at the point. But again, tonight he was matched up against John Stockton. And they're just going to dribble away the time here, and Utah gets win number 14 in a row. And they're 3-0 this year with the Los Angeles Lakers. 2 of those victories coming earlier this year when Shaquille O'Neal was still playing. Utah making a statement now, 14 in a row. And we'd like to thank Karl Malone for participating in the broadcast and for bringing up what will now be a story that I'll develop throughout the playoffs with Chuck Daly in his robe at the pool in Barcelona with Dream Team 1. Thank you very much, Kay. And speaking of the Malones, Cheryl Miller's with the other half of that beautiful duo.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Karl tonight, 29 points. What is the difference between this year's team as opposed to last year's team?
I think mental toughness. I think guys come out and they play hard and they do the job we're capable of doing. I don't think we back down from anything. When team gets physical with us, we got what we call matching. That means if you're going to play physical with us, we're going to play the same thing. And I like the way we stepped up. But if I had to point out one thing about this team, it was that East Coast trip we took. That right there set the tone for us in this second half, and it was a big trip for us.
Karl, how important is getting the home court advantage heading into the playoffs?
It's important. You know it. It's really important.
Well, talk a little bit about your teammates. You seem to have just a newfound love for the guys. You got, you're playing well. This is your 12th season, but you're playing like a rookie.
Well, I think the most important thing is I got 11 other guys that have the utmost confidence in me and my abilities, and I never had that before. On the teams in the past, we had a couple guys that was doing their things over here. They know when we get on this court that we're going to have some disagreement, but the bottom line is when the game on the line, I want the basketball. And the main thing now is everybody believing in what I can do and what we can do as a team, and when you do that, you're going to win some games.
All right, the bottom line, Karl, is you're always producing. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the game. Just go back to the table.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. And the MVP race is still up for grabs, but tonight's Budweiser Player of the Game race was won by Karl Malone, 29 points. John Stockton had 15 points and 10 assists. Eddie Jones, 16, but had no points. He led the Laker comeback in the third, but could not score in the fourth quarter. Utah Jazz win their 14th game in a row, 101-89 over the Los Angeles Lakers here tonight. 29 points from Karl Malone. For Cheryl Miller and Chuck Daly, this is Bob Neal saying good night from Salt Lake City, Utah.
The Bulls continue their quest for a second